I'm told the number one fear people have is speaking in public. It's the one fear I don't have. Join me for the Love Speak series, where we leave fear behind and we speak love. Loving our story, loving speaking, doing what we love, loving each other, and loving ourselves. Our stories are what connect us and make us better humans. So join me and my Love Speaks friends for some stories, some laughs, some inspiration, some speaker tips, and some unexpected truth. It's the Love Speak series, where a little bit of love goes a long way.
Welcome to the Love Speak series. Here's your host, Sally Lou Loveman.
We're speaking laughter today on the Love Speak series. So call your girlfriends and your guy friends and tune in together, because laughter is always better when it's shared. Laughter seems to be my backup plan. Whether things are going well or not going well, laughter is always what I'm going for, because it always works. My guest today is going to make you laugh, because she makes me laugh every time we talk. We met in the most unusual way, which makes for a funny story. You can find her on radio, on TV, online, and as she likes to say, inline, which is basically the grocery store line. Mara Davis seems to be everywhere, which is just the way she likes it. I happen to have found her in the Caesars Palace lobby in Las Vegas, but we'll get to that. Mara hails from Atlanta, where she is co-host of the Emmy Award-winning program Atlanta Eats. She is the talent booker for Adult Swim and the new Shirley Manson podcast, The Jump. She hosts a restaurant review segment, and her Mara Music Mix on Atlanta's NPR station is a weekly roundup of the city's best concerts. Basically, Mara works a stage wherever she can find one, which is why I love her. Please welcome my friend, Mara Davis.
Hi, Sally Lou. I'm so excited to be a part of the podcast. I am just in awe of you. I have been following your every move over the years, and so it is just so awesome to connect here.
And I'm going to take that in for a moment, because it's true. You really have, and I want to say thank you for that. Listen, we found each other in the most unusual circumstances, and that usually doesn't last the test of time. And we'll get to the story, like I said, but you have been there for me, really a stranger turned friend. And I thank you so much. But I think it's not just because you're a fabulous human. I think it's also about the energy that we seem to see in each other. Because when I saw you in that lobby, I kind of felt like I was looking in the mirror, and you felt like home to me. So you're killing it, just like I'm trying to kill it, but you're actually doing it. And that's the other funny thing I will say doing this podcast. When I'm researching the guests, who all are friends of mine, I'm like, wow, I feel really bad about what I've accomplished, because you all have accomplished so much. So you don't stop. What is that about?
Well, I think a big part of it, honestly, was reinventing my career, which is why I'm super attracted into some of the things that you're doing. My whole career was defined by being a radio personality, and I had done that my whole life. And when I wasn't anymore, about 7 years ago, I kind of had to figure it out, and I just didn't know what I was doing. And so I think I just grabbed every opportunity that there was out there. And, when you're in your 40s or 50s, or you're in this second phase or wave of your career, you can't say no, but yet you have to say no. It's
a slippery slope. Yeah, it's a slippery slope.
It is.
Well,
so that's kind of really why it seems like I do a lot of things, because I just couldn't find one job.
Right. So here's what I want to ask you, which is a great lesson for everybody to know that if the one job that you get paid for weekly ends, because that's what happened, right? Your radio station, it ended. And this was a thing that you loved, you'd done for years. Your radio is the radio for you is like a TV studio for me. Am I right?
Yeah,
you
exactly.
love
100%.
it. Yeah. And so I want to ask you this. I talk a lot about this in my work, and I want to find out from you, what is your talent? Like, what did you do as a young girl that you find is really serving you in all the plates that you have up in the air spinning right now?
Public speaking and connectability. I have an ability to connect people and develop relationships. And I think that's something that's really I leaned on as far as reinventing my career, because it was people who I knew.
Right.
And I also think a recipe for that is just being nice to people.
Yeah.
I mean, that's kind of how we remained friends and why I was attracted to you, because I saw a lot of it's true what you say, like we were looking at it in the mirror in a way.
Right. We kind of look alike too, sort of.
So I think, but yeah, I mean, I do think public speaking was a skill that So
like in the 5th grade, did you speak in front of a class? Like what did you do as a kid that someone can really feel?
It was actually later in life. I was, believe it or not, quite a shy kid. And it wasn't until my mother sent me to sleepaway camp. And, that's just kind of like the way it went. And I really came out of my shell, and I really started to do more public speaking. But it was once I got on the radio, I was always interested in radio. And it was once I started doing radio, and then I was more interested in doing public speaking. And public speaking in college was my favorite class.
Because it's easy for you. It's just like breathing for you. And it's interesting that you say you were shy, because I was too. And then suddenly, if you find your purpose, which for you was radio, for me was television, that gives you this kind of confidence that you can't really get any way else, unless, if you are loving what you're doing, which is the whole thing behind my work of Love Speaks. If you're loving what you're doing, no one can take that away from you, and you don't have fear. So that has to be with what it must have felt like for you to be on the radio. Plus, it's so intimate.
Yeah, I mean, I just was so attracted to it. I mean, I still am. I mean, sadly, the radio business is just a whole different game. I mean, it's definitely in that category of what print media is, or
exactly.
But it is the intimacy of it. And then I started doing it early on in college and realized I was good at it. And people were telling me I was good at it. Now, that doesn't mean, I had this like easy path. There were a lot of obstacles in the way to continue on, but it was what drove me. I just liked talking.
Right. You have a term for it. Carnival barker. You always say,
oh my gosh.
Okay.
100%.
Hello, Mara. 100%. Are you there? Okay. Yes, exactly. You are a carnival barker.
Yeah. Well, it's because it's like, and it's just like you say, 100 jobs. It's like, give me a live mic anywhere. And it's just, I will just start, it's fine. And I'm happy to do it. And that was one thing that I really learned when I got out of radio. I mean, it's always fun to talk about all your great successes, but the failures are really what define you. I mean, when I got out of radio, I took so many terrible jobs.
Like, what was the worst one?
The craziest one. Now, keep in mind, I had been this radio personality in Atlanta for almost 20 years.
Right.
And everybody had said to me, like, oh, when your radio station ended, your phone's going to ring off the hook. And it didn't.
Right.
It just didn't.
Sounds familiar.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, and that's a symptom of a couple things. I think it was just the business itself was changing. I had also, when you work at the same place for a long time, people assume that you make so much money that they don't even make you an offer.
Totally.
So the case in point was, where did I get my first radio job? At public radio. So I'm making like $1 and I'm working hours and hours and hours, but I'm happy to do it. But the craziest job I took was I got asked to MC a fashion show. Now, if you know me, like, I don't want to say that I'm a controversial personality, but I am someone that is not afraid to speak my mind.
Right.
And my humor can tend to be on the edgy side. Right. And I was asked to MC this Christian faith, purity fashion show.
And did you want to say no at first, but you took it because you're like, hey, it's a job?
Oh, 100%. I was like, what's my call time? And it was, but this was like right after things were over, and it was just, to me, it was just an MC job, and I was,
right.
I wanted to keep the muscle strong. I was like, what, do these people know me? Are they sure? Are they sure? So anyway, and then like, I can kind of embrace the idea, which was teaching girls how to dress so they don't look like hookers in high school, basically.
Right.
Okay. So that's not what I said in my rap. I kept it classy. And
you said prostitutes?
Right. And I remember just like thinking like, look, somebody was asking for me to come work. And that's really what does humble you. I went from like getting all these gigs like crazy when I was on the radio to the phone not ringing. So when the phone rang once, I was just like, I have to find a way to take this job. So that was definitely a low point, but you could say it's a low point, but it was also a real learning point. And I just continue to take gigs like that.
Well, and we all know as speakers, as MC, as whatever it is, throw us in. We'll do whatever you want us to do because we can. You and I can both understand what it's like to work a crowd that's like drinking, or work a crowd that's Christian, or work a crowd that is, whatever the difference is. Knowing our audience is key. I think what's so interesting, what you just said, is I remember just towards the end of me before leaving Harpo and my job was over and I was trying to figure it out. And I got asked to speak for a huge brand, 4 days, put me up in a beautiful hotel in Orlando, tickets to Disney, invite your family. Like, I'm like, I could get used to this.
Right.
And then I leave Harpo because my job is over and obsolete. And that never happened again, which is so interesting. Yes, I've had a speaking career and I've been doing it, but never like that. And I can only attribute that to the fact that I was attached to a huge brand and therefore I was more sexy. And now with my own brand, which is just as sexy, but not as big, it doesn't have the appeal. So I have to really be good with that, because I always tell people who are in this business speaking or have a platform, and I always say, it doesn't matter the size of your audience. It matters if they showed up to hear from you. So no matter what, every follower that I have on my social platform, where it is not huge, I value that because you showed up to hear from me. And there's something in that. But yes, as we grow and we reinvent ourselves, every little job matters, whether it's putting us where we want to be or putting us exactly where we shouldn't be.
Well, and that's really what I've learned over the years. It's funny. Right after I got out of radio, and it really, because people say to me all the time, Sally Lou, like, oh, look at all this cool stuff you're doing, and wow, this and that. And it is.
And we need to paint that picture. We need to paint that picture for people listening, because I know what you do, but you haven't really said it. So I listed it. But talk about your love for music and food and celebrities. And what do you do? What does everybody know you in Atlanta as doing?
So people know me in Atlanta primarily for being the rock DJ. I was on a radio station called Z93, which became Dave FM, and I did a lunchtime show called Radio Free Lunch that was very popular. And I did that for a long, long time. So I was a very well-established radio personality here in Atlanta. And then as we talked about, the radio station turned into a sports station. And after that, I morphed into, again, hosting Christian fashion shows. and then from there, I got asked to be a co-host. I had done a little bit of TV, but I started working on this show, Atlanta Eats, which you mentioned, which is kind of Atlanta's version of Diners, Drive-Ins, and Dives. It's basically a local, food show. And then from that, I did a pilot for Food Network, which I thought I was going to be the biggest star ever.
I remember that.
Didn't get picked up. I mean, these are things that you learn in your journey, that it was like okay, so I'm not. And so then that was actually a really pivotal moment because I thought, well, wow, this is going to be it. So I was doing that. And I also do a music segment on WAB, which is Atlanta's NPR station here. It's the premier NPR station here. And so I do that once a week. And I do various like music and food things around town. That's kind of my brand. That's kind of things I'm attracted to.
Is it because those are passions for you? Do you love food and music?
Absolutely. Absolutely. But recently, and this is where it's like, you know, I was talking earlier about connections. My latest job, I have morphed into this whole new job, Sally Lou, that kind of happened by accident.
I love this. What?
So I had been doing all this music and food, radio, TV, and none of that work is consistent.
Right.
You could have a pilot, it goes south. You could have a radio show, it changes format.
Right.
Things are so unpredictable. I get a call from my friend Ollie Green, and she's really one of my best friends here in Atlanta, and she's a VP of animated production at Adult Swim. And Adult Swim, for those who don't know, is part of the Cartoon Network. It's
exactly.
The edgy programming at night, a Cartoon Network, and Adult Swim has a series of digital streaming shows that are online only. Some of them air on TV, but it's pretty much only digital. And Ollie calls me one day and she's like, look, they're looking to hire a talent booker. They need rock bands and celebrities to be on their shows. I suggested you. Are you interested in that? And in my mind, I thought, well, I am never going to get hired at Adult Swim because Adult Swim is one of the coolest brands in television. It's so exclusive. Nobody ever leaves. It's like this, it's just this like real cool, one of the coolest brands, I think. So anyway, I go in for this interview. I'm like, I didn't think anything of it. I got hired on the spot. And it was like a trial. They were like, all right, we're going to see how this goes. And that was 3 years ago.
Wow. So you book for their digital platform.
Yeah. So the main show that I book for is called Fish Center Live, which is a really stupid show. It is It is a show where four guys talk over a fish tank, and Fish Center is a play on Sports Center.
Right.
So the fish swim over coins to score points. Right. It's so stupid.
And people watch it.
And people watch it, and basically we have bands or celebrities play in front of the green screen, which is where the fish tank is projected. So I call it NPR Tiny Desk. A crazy cousin.
Yeah, exactly. It sounds like it. But this is funny. It's funny. And that's who you are. You are funny, whether it's stupid funny. And that's usually the funniest or the most funny. I don't know. I'm bad with grammar. So I want to know, how do you bring funny and laughter into your job at Adult Swim?
Well, that is really all in the hustle. And I think that these guys, I mean, again, I go back to Adult Swim where when I first started working for them, people were just so shocked that I would respond to emails and that I would say yes to things, because it's a joke that Ollie and I have with each other, that saying no is very on brand for Adult Swim because they are kind of too cool for everything. So it's like, here I was, they actually needed an adult to work there in this position. And so I just kind of, was able to get to their level.
Do you enjoy saying no? Can you say no now? Like, can you feel cool and say no?
I will be honest with you. There have been some opportunities where it does kind of feel good.
It does, right? But what about ignoring an email? That's way worse than no.
Well, for me, sometimes, look, that's going to happen with busy people like you or me. Like sometimes you're going to get overloaded.
Well, you can
overlooked.
Forget, but I'm talking about a straight out ignore.
I try to not do it.
Right. It's hard.
Because, and here's why, and especially in our business when it comes to entertainment, they will ask me to go out and get crazy guests for them. And I know that, look, when I'm asked to go get Taylor Swift, that I'm not going to be able to get Taylor Swift. But if I find the right contact, I may get somebody else out of it.
Right.
So that's the trick in talent booking. And I'm sure your years at Harpo, your bookers have gone through the same thing.
Yes.
It's just like you stumble onto other things,
right.
and it becomes this whole thing.
Well, it's a search, and then you're in the search and you want what you want, but then you'll take what you can get if it works, for what you're looking for. So
correct.
So have you ever, who's the biggest star you've booked on anything?
So I would say some of the biggest successes I've had, recently the biggest one I had was I don't want to say I discovered Billie Eilish, but I booked her about a year before she really popped. And I only knew this was going to be a big thing because my friend's 14-year-old daughter started emailing me for tickets to this, and I had never heard of her.
Right.
And so I started investigating, and then I had gone to my boss, and I was like, we have got to get her on now. And I was able to pull it off, and that was a really big deal. She just hosted Saturday Night Live, so that was a big one. I think I got Sting and Shaggy. That was huge.
That
was a big accomplishment for me because that was a pure hustle and negotiation. And what I mean by that, Sally Lou, is I had to go back and forth with my boss and their team and kind of meeting in the middle on different requirements. And that was a skill that I just had
right.
that I didn't even knew I had. And when Sting showed up, it was really kind of an out-of-body experience.
I think I was just going to ask you that. Isn't it sort of out-of-body for you when you're listening to yourself do in the midst of a hustle? You are in the full hustle and you're talking to Sting's people and you're like, hey, I'm Mara Davis and da-da-da-da-da-da-da, whatever you're saying. And you're stroking them and you're loving them and you're funny with them. And then suddenly they're like, yeah, we can make this work. And you're like, how did I do that?
Well, that is exactly how it went down. And I don't think my boss really believed me the whole time. Right. And there were a lot of things contingent on making it happen. And again, they're very on brand with saying no. And I kept being like, well, you have to say yes because, he's going to show up. And then when he walked in the door, and I know, Sally Lou, you have dealt with a lot of celebrities and A-list people.
Yeah,
as
but still, it's different when you've done it, when you've fished for him and he came, arrived. That's cool.
And he couldn't have been any nicer. He was such a class act. He was so genuine. It's such a joy when you see people that are at that level. Who, number one, the fact that he was down to clown, that he came on our dumb show.
Down to clown. I love that.
So that was great. And Shaggy was great. So that was a really big accomplishment.
Was this on Fish Center Live?
It was indeed. You can Google it.
So funny. Everybody Google Fish Center Live, Shaggy and Sting. That was Mara Davis.
Yeah. And that's the funny thing, Sally Lou, is I'm completely behind the scenes on this. And from spending my whole career being in front of the scenes,
right?
There is a satisfaction in being behind the scenes that I really, really do love. I have found that I do enjoy producing almost as much as being on air.
It does go hand in hand. So, and then what's great is when you're sick of being in front, you can go behind. And then when you're sick of being behind, you go in front. So it is a nice little thing to be able to do both.
Yeah. I always say I'll never give up the dream. That was the thing, the biggest lesson I learned in doing that Food Network pilot. It was just, these networks, and as you know, they love you so much until they don't.
Right.
And it's tough. It's really tough, but it's also a great learning experience.
It is literally momentum. I like to say, Uncle Mo, literally it is momentum. And the fact that you did it and it didn't happen, that doesn't mean it didn't happen. It means it didn't happen for right now. And so the fact that you were in it, doing it, first of all, you met a bunch of people who will remember you for the next thing that might be better and bigger and more appropriate for you, whatever that might mean. We don't even know right now. But that's the thing. Everybody needs to know. You don't have to go do a pilot, but you have to do something to move yourself forward in what you want. So every little thing that you do is just a step forward momentum to the big grand prize that you really, really want. And in the end, even if you don't get that grand prize, you're probably doing great things just to try to get it. And that's the journey.
Well, that is, and I also have taken a liking to, I think that now that I have, here we are years later and I'm doing the Adult Swim booking job and I'm just a contractor. So it's great. So I can take on other jobs, and I have just started on this other booking job. So now these talent booking jobs are popping up.
That's only for one reason, because you are already doing it. And so now your name is coming up. So you can't stay inside. You got to go outside like you're doing.
But the biggest thing, and this was one of the reasons why I was so attracted to you, and to like when I saw you doing public speaking and I followed what you've done, I think a big part in being a success is connecting with other people and women, and also taking the time to mentor other women.
Mm-hmm.
And to give back.
For sure.
When you've been so lucky to, look, I some days I go to work and I'm just like, oh my God, like last week we had Post Malone in, I'm like I'm getting chicken fingers for Post Malone. I'm like, I can't even believe this is my job. This is, and a fish tank. This is so stupid. What am I doing?
Do you know how many people would kill to get fish sticks or whatever you just said? Now I've got fish on my brain. Chicken fingers, fish sticks, whatever, for Post Malone. I mean, how old's your son?
He's 14.
So does he think you're cool or totally crazy?
You know what he does? It's
so
it's
cute.
Actually, we're at a good place right now because I actually go to him to know what the cool factor is.
Right. And that's what you said, because you said the 14-year-old girl or your niece who was telling you, and that is the key. Like if you are in midlife, even if you're not in midlife, stay connected to the young people, because they are telling you what's happening now, and they are making such big, enormous changes in our world and our planet. And they also are really cool. And my kids keep me cool for sure.
Yeah. I mean, listen, there are plenty of things, Sally Lou, where I'm like, hey, kids, get off my lawn. I mean, there's plenty of like crankiness in it. But when it comes to talent booking, and especially working for a network like Adult Swim and Cartoon Network, I do have to be in tune with what younger people are into, and staying up with trends and being on social media. And,
right.
So I try, but
Right. Now we all try. Listen, what you just said made me laugh so hard, because I have a girlfriend named Jill, and she and I have this brand of like, open and be loving to everyone. And I do, I try, but she made me laugh. I also enjoy that dark side humor, so I can't help myself. And so she said, yeah, all I say to people is get off my property. I'm like, what does that mean? It just means leave me alone. Get off my property. So what you just said, get off my lawn, makes me laugh really hard. It's just a one line, get off my property. I don't even care if I don't have property. Get off it.
Yeah, because I think it's just like, I think you do get to a certain age where it's like, again, back to your point of being able to say no to certain things. And it's like, I think, and especially when you're trying to develop your brand or develop your, whatever it is you're doing, you're trying to build your career, you don't want to say no to things because you want to take every opportunity. But the side part of that is that you have to know your worth.
You have to. And the minute you start doing too many free things is the minute you have no value. And I believe in doing things for free when it serves everyone. when it serves your mission and you want to be there because it matters to you, or, whatever the case may be. And that is great. But when people start saying, well, you're really good in front of people, so just come and, we don't have a budget for you, but you see them spending a budget on a billion other things. You're like, wait, I'm not stupid. Like, I get that. And this is valuable time. Just because it is a personality thing and like I'm good in front of people and connection. Do you know how much that is worth? You can't even put a price on that. You're representing a brand. I represent a brand. And you want to make sure that everyone in that room feels good. That's your job. That's my job.
Well, I learned that from another great radio personality here, like early on in my career when I kept getting asked to MC charity events.
Right.
And she gave me this great advice, and it was, pick one charity or two charities that you work with exclusively, and this way you can kind of say no. And then another piece of advice she gave me was, hey, they're paying the florist, the caterer, the lighting, the DJ, the AV team.
Right.
So you're the MC and you're the one keeping the night moving.
Exactly.
So that's the thing. Although I guess it's gotten to the point now where it's harder and harder to MC those gigs where like I think I would do them for a cheap rate just to get myself out there. And now like, I put a high price tag on. I value what I do because I know I'm good.
You are excellent, and you have to. It's really
So it's a tough call to get to that place. I mean, it's a good place to be,
right?
But you have to kind of weigh out your options and where that all goes.
All right. So I want to tell everybody listening how we met. I know my story, but I really want to hear it from you because I didn't see it from your eyes. So please make us laugh and tell us what was happening, why you were there, and how you met me, and then what happened.
Okay. So I was on a girls' weekend in Las Vegas, and this had to be like 2008. 2008. Okay. Yep. Right. Because Charlie was little. Okay. So I had gone to Vegas with my girlfriend. And we had Good Day Las Vegas on the TV, and everybody was talking about how Oprah was doing a show in Vegas. And we had no idea. And we were like, oh my God. And I was on a mission. I was like, I'm going to get to see Oprah because as in everybody in the world, watched Oprah at 4:00 every day growing up. I mean,
right.
So it was just like, I had to be there. So we went on this mad hunt on the Strip. We went to Caesars. And we started walking around the casino trying to ask where we could buy tickets, where we could secure tickets.
And did you know that the show was being taped at Caesar's Palace?
Well, we started asking people questions. I mean, I was asking security. I was asking trash collectors.
Right.
I mean, but this is, again, it was kind of like
you were hustling.
A preamble to my talent booking job. You got to talk to everybody.
Totally.
So I then find out that it's at Caesars, so we head right over to Caesars, and I think I'm like in my active wear, like it wasn't like I was like and there's a funny sidebar to that.
Okay. I want to hear it.
We're in Caesars, we're walking around, and then I see a bunch of ladies with laminates, and they all looked important, and that was you and your team, and I could sniff it out, like I could just sniff it. I was like. So I'm like, they're from the show. I can just tell. I could just tell by looking at them. You just,
I understand.
When you're in the business,
yeah,
you do.
You get it. Yeah.
So
we were your people.
I walked right up to you and I was like, are you guys part of, I'm looking for Oprah tickets. I don't know if you know anything about this, just kind of playing dumb. And you're like, well, you came to the right place because I'm the audience coordinator. I'm the audience director. And I was like, well, I know this is a tall order, but I'm here with, 6 ladies and, this is a dream come true. And I'm sure I gave you some bullshit that was true, but I was, like, I knew I had a limited. So anyway, then you said to me, well, you've come to the right place. Give me your number and I'll see what I can do. You didn't guarantee it.
Oh,
then I got a call
shocked.
from you later. That said yes to tickets. You were like, get a new outfit, go wear bright colors. okay, because you're going to the show. And we were literally all dying. I mean, this was like Christmas morning times, your wedding day times. And then we found out the show was Tina Turner and Cher.
Right.
It was like, my head exploded. It was just like, I couldn't even. So of course, we all go buy new outfits because of course we did. I went to Nanette Lepore.
I'm so sorry.
I got a yellow jacket, which I wore for years. Like it was cool. It was a good
I'm glad you got some use out of it.
And then we get to the Caesar's Palace, whatever the auditorium was, and there Sally Lou Loveman puts us all in the second row. Okay. So I am literally dying. And now I think back and it's like, oh my God, if I'm an audience coordinator, who do I want? I want a bunch of freaking colorful moms right in the front row.
Who have great energy.
Yeah, exactly. So we see the show. It was the most magnificent thing ever. It was just like, but I will always remember this, as amazing as Oprah was. And there were so many funny things that happened, like her eyelash fell out.
Oh, yeah.
She had no eyelash glue when somebody in the audience had it. And then in my mind, I'm like, oh my God, that poor makeup artist. Oh, you in danger, girl.
Boy.
Or guy. Okay. And then watching you warm up the crowd was like, I had such a crush on you. I couldn't.
How old were you? How old was I? I was like probably 45. You must have been 20.
This is 2008, right?
Yeah, I can't do the math. Oh, is that 18 years ago? Oh, that's my favorite number.
So no, it's 10 years ago.
Sorry.
10 years ago.
Oh, by the way, I'm terrible at math too. Go on.
Okay, so I watch you get up there and you have this cute outfit. You even dressed like I do. You had like cute jeans and a blazer.
And like I used to be able to wear like high heels back then. Okay, yeah. Okay.
So you're up there and you're warming up for Oprah. And not only have you gifted me these Oprah tickets for Tina Turner and Cher
right.
and Oprah.
Right.
Okay. I'm watching you, and that was like the running jokes. My friends all made fun of me because I was just like, wow, what a dream job that is. You had got up there and you were warming up the crowd, and I just thought you were just remarkable. And so I was so in awe of you.
Well, maybe that's because you saw that maybe someone who had no interest in doing that ever in life might have been like, oh, that's nice girl, whatever. But you, who you already know, you have all the talents that I was bringing to that stage. You were like, wait, I'm in love with her because I want to do it, because you can. And you're doing it.
Well, that's the amazing thing too. It was like, I just was so in awe of all of it. But that was the biggest impression. And then what ended up happening is I sent you a gift.
Can you get Bogey to stop parking?
My dog, I know. I'm sorry. so
it's okay. We don't care. Say hi, Bogey.
I know this happens to me every time I work from home. Most of the time, and every.
Is it a squirrel? Is there a squirrel? UPS man?
I'm sure it's nothing. I'm sure it's
It's okay.
But I was so determined to keep in touch with you that I had sent you an article, because back then, like, the newspapers were more relevant, and it was kind of a great story that I just randomly got to go to Oprah, and it did. And I talked about it on the radio, and it did get picked up in the AJC, the Atlanta Journal-Constitution. And so I had sent you that article, and then I sent you a gift, because in that, and those are the things I think that is a lost art.
Oh, definitely, definitely.
Of people just like going out of their way to develop a relationship.
Well, we both went out of our way. Actually, I really didn't, because I in my mind, I came up to you, but now you're telling me how it happened, and that is true, because I do remember it. I can see it. But I thought, like, I saw you and I saw your energy, and I was like, hey guys, want to come to Oprah? That was my favorite thing to do on the road, because when I was in the studio at home, in our home studio, we didn't leave the studio ever. We didn't have a reason to. But when we were on the road, my team would literally like not allow me to go on the streets because they're like, oh God, Sally Lou's going to, give 700 tickets away and then we're going to be overbooked and, we won't have a seat. And I mean, I remember seeing this group of girls walking down a street in New York and I literally told the cab to stop, ran after them, left my phone in the cab, never saw it again. But I gave tickets to these girls because they were such good energy, so cute. Don't even talk to me about going to airports. Like through airports, I'm giving tickets away. I miss that probably the most, besides really the number one thing I miss besides, being in the studio and working and hustling is laughing with my team. So I am enjoying my laughing right now with you. But yeah, I love the random moments where you meet someone and then it actually lasts because the kindness continues, and you continued that kindness for me when I just started out. You would text me, or then when we were on social media together, you're like, you're a queen, you're this, you're that. And I'm like, oh, thank you. And sometimes you just need someone out there just to give you that morning boost of like, you can do this. And it matters. So I want to say thank you. Really, truly, thank you.
Oh, well, it was like I was so like when Oprah ended and listen, I think you and I can relate to each other in so much. We're very similar positions where it's like you're defined by one thing your whole career until you're not. Right. And I think that was what we had in common. And I followed your career ever since then. And every move that you made, I really paid attention to everything that you were doing because I know that you're doing big things. And it was when you went to go work for Megyn Kelly, I was so fascinated with that. And I mean, is that something you're trying? Would you do that again? Be an audience coordinator again?
It's so funny. First of all, I was an audience coordinator in 1910, but so it's really audience producer, audience director. So that's the job that I did at Oprah. Yep. And I actually I've been doing a lot of pilots, which has been lovely. And that's only through the fact that I have these wonderful relationships and friendships with the incredible producers who are out from Oprah, who are out there making beautiful television. Yep. So that's why I get those opportunities. I did recently apply and interviewed for the audience supervisor position at Tamron Hall, and I was told no. So with that moment, I went, oh my God, I won't ever work in television again. I cried for 2 or 3 days, but then I got over it. And, I want the show to do well. I have a lot of friends that work there. My daughter got hired. So that was my prayer. I was like, oh my God, we're both interviewing. Let it be her. Let it be her. And that's what happened. And so that was God's plan. And I'm so grateful. It hurt because I was like, who could do that job better than me? Not sure. Yeah. I do so many things wrong and bad, but like that I got. So it's all good. And since then, I have worked in TV again, which is awesome. And I'm 57. I don't know if I could take that daily grind right now. I like to dip in and dip out. That's what I love. Yeah. So kind of what you're doing. You're dipping in, you're dipping out. You get to take your kid to soccer and be home every once in a while.
Yeah, but I'm not gonna lie. Like this talent booking,
it's
stuff,
hard.
Like, well,
it's exhausting.
It's because I'm just checking my email constantly, and I'm like literally I'm in a world of stalking people all day long. Or I call it like gentle nudge, or like my middle name is circling back, just circling back, circling back, circling back.
Mara, circle back. But that's the thing. I mean, that's the part of being a producer. You're hustling in every way you go. I want to ask a couple more questions before our hour is up. First of all, I want to say something that when I first thought about doing a podcast years ago, and I'm finally doing it because I'm coordinating it with my book that's coming, that will be out. And by the time this airs, maybe it is out. So who knows? But anyway, I said, Mara, you and we need to do a podcast together. And I want to call it Davis Love for your last name and my last name. I'm like, oh, shoot, that's actually a real person. So I thought the funniest thing, it's kind of like stupid humor, like your fish tank. Davis Love, not the golfer. I think that's the funniest. Funny. I think that's a hilarious thing. Let's do it. Let's do it next. Okay, what are you loving the most right now? What is the favorite word that you use all the time that you absolutely love?
Oh my gosh, the favorite word?
Yeah, your favorite word that you love.
Fabulous.
Fabulous. Okay. Favorite TV series that you love right now? I don't mean ever in time. I mean current, right now.
I watch so many shows. I'm a professional binge watcher, but I would say my favorite show is Handmaid's Tale.
Okay. Interesting. Not really a laughing one.
It is not a funny show. And I am so obsessed with like the whole, like I read Margaret Atwood's books. I read the New Testament. I watched, it's a very, very hard show, but there's just something about it that absolutely, partnered with what's going on in today's culture and ripped from the headlines. But yeah, I'd say that's my favorite show.
Okay. So if you had to have one that makes you laugh really hard, which one would that be?
Oh gosh. Oh God. There's so many, but I think the funniest show that I watched recently is Workin' Moms.
That I have heard. I have not tuned in yet, but I need a new show. So, cause I'm
really funny.
I'm finished with the season, of The Politician with Ben Platt, who I'm obsessed with. And of course, Schitt's Creek is my favorite. So I'm waiting for season 6. And, but Working Mom, I hear, is really funny.
It's so funny. It was not what I expected to be. And it's ridiculous. But, I think Catherine Reitman, who's the creator of the show, has just done such a great job. And it kind of, especially in motherhood too, it just shows how imperfect it is, and it's laugh out loud funny.
Oh, good. Okay, good. What season do you love the most?
I loved the first season. There's 3 seasons.
That is so funny. It's not at all what I meant.
What season?
I meant season, like winter, spring, summer.
Oh, like what season? We were still talking about TV.
I'm sorry.
Fall's the best season.
Fall.
Yeah.
Okay. And what do you love the most about you?
That at this point in my life, I'm comfortable with who I am.
Good. I like that too. Do you have a daily prayer? Do you pray?
Nope.
Okay. Do you?
I do think though, because I'm not a religious or very spiritual person, but I do feel gratitude and thankful. Like when I go and do yoga or work out or walk my dog or get to do certain things, I do take a moment and take a deep breath and think and just try to acknowledge.
So you mark it as a gratitude moment, which is nice.
Mm-hmm.
If there are people listening who are struggling to find a way to laugh because their circumstances are just either hard or just not that funny, I think laughter, like I said at the beginning, is just the best medicine. I just recently did stand up. I'm going to my class tonight. I'm doing a second round. Have you done stand up?
I have.
Yeah, because you'd be great at it. So have you done it several times or?
So here's what I learned about stand up is that stand up is so much about writing.
It's all about writing. And
that was, I think, especially someone like you, Sally Lou, and me are very similar in the sense that we're MCs and public speakers, and we think it's so easy. And a lot of times we can be in a situation where like we can do it in our sleep, right? It's just like, oh, whatever, I can, go through it. But comedy is a whole different thing, and there's so much to the writing. True. So I felt I had done some stand up and I had tried and I had emceed a couple of nights, but I got flustered and frustrated and didn't stick with it.
Well,
I didn't feel like it was the trajectory of what I really wanted. So.
Right. Well, for me, I totally learned the same lesson. It's all about writing. And as I'm writing my second bit, I understand how to do it now. It took me 5 weeks to understand how to do the first one. And now I'm, going to be going to my first class for the second session. And I've already got something written that needs a shit ton of work, but I get it now. I get the formula. and you just sort of whittle away. Like those two words don't matter. Get them out. And the other thing is, for me, I did stand-up comedy. Like my mom said to me, who's really funny. My mom is really funny. She's like, I never thought of you as funny, Sally, though. I'm like, you didn't think I'm funny? Like, what? And so I just think I'm funny. Like, I think you're funny, but that doesn't mean that you can do stand-up. So I did stand-up for one reason. I've been talking about doing it forever. And because I'm like, hey, that'll just motivate me to be brave in other areas of my life. But it's true. It really was exhilarating and terrifying all at the same time.
It definitely gives you a lot more respect to anybody who is a legitimately amazing stand-up comedian. And I also think that's an art that it doesn't have the respect that if you're a musician or an actor, stand-up doesn't. And it's in many ways, it's the hardest one of all.
It is.
Because you're just one person. And if you're being able to take that art with your writing and to turn that into performance is really, when you look at some of the greats that are just extraordinary at it, it's a whole different.
It is a whole other, it is the next level. When we did when the 8 of us who were in the class together, all women who were women, they were children. Okay. They were all in their 20s. I was this 57-year-old woman. They're like, why are you here? And it was just funny. That was funny in and of itself. But we had our performance all together. We had 100 people in the room. It was awesome. And then we had, after we all finished, a professional comedian came on and did her set. And I'm just telling you, her name is Meat Brick. Her name is Molly, but her stage name is Meat Brick. And if you find her on Instagram, she will make you laugh. And she is funny.
Oh, that's good to know. I love that.
So how can people who are struggling with finding laughter, what would you suggest for them? Because you find it so easily.
I would say, number one, have a really good friend.
Mm-hmm.
I think have with like-minded sensibility. I mean, I think my friends have gotten me through so much. And have provided laughter, someone who really knows you, who can call you on your bullshit. But I think if you really do need a laugh, there's nothing beats cat and dog videos.
That is funny. I don't get it. I don't see it. Whatever. But you're right. Cat and dog videos do make people laugh. That is funny.
I can watch a damn cat video. I'm allergic to cats. To me, like seeing a cat do a dumb thing, or like a dog, falling, or like missing like a jump.
Yeah.
I can watch that. Like that'll make me laugh. Or like certain things, like to me, like a satire. Like I had just tweeted something out about The Onion. Like The Onion can just make me laugh.
That's true. The Onion is good at that. Listen, your tweets make me laugh. I forgot to talk about that.
Thanks.
So where can people find you on Twitter?
At Mara Davis and Mara Davis 2000 on Instagram, and on Facebook you can find me. But it's social media really saved me in the time of even though there's so much negativity around social media for various reasons, but after I came off the radio, it really saved me because I can still connect with people,
right?
And I can still, you just fake it till you make it out there. People are like, "Wow, you're so busy! Wow, look at all this shit you're doing," and they don't know that, like, I've watched 3 seasons of The Handmaid's Tale, and I have dark circles under my eyes,
But you're hustling. Yeah, that's so funny because people think I post so much. And I'm like, you have no idea. Like, I don't post half of what other people post, but that's okay. Like, we were at a reunion of her college, and a friend of ours who I've known for years, he's like, wait, you're real? Like, I just thought you lived on Instagram. I'm like, no, I have feelings. I am human. And I also binge watch. So I clearly have time in my day for other things. The one question I always ask everybody, or so far, at the top of our interview, I forgot. So I'm going to end with it. How is love speaking to you right now, today? Mara Davis.
I would say love is speaking to me because I am in a career that I never expected to have, and I can't believe I have my own business. And and I have two big clients of high profile companies, and that I am being offered other jobs. It is just, and love is speaking to me in that way because I am so career driven. So I can't even believe that like this little, like one person who thought I'd be good at something has turned into this whole other business. So that, as stressed out as it's making me, it's also, I do feel a lot of love around it. Like, oh my God. Again, I was hosting the Christian fashion show and now I'm
so
like,
what did you say?
Deals.
What did you really say in that Christian fashion show that you might kind of feel like was not the right thing?
Nothing. I did great.
Oh, okay. I thought you said that there was something. You didn't say.
No, there wasn't. It was just something that like, it was
you had to really be mindful and watchful of what you could
100%.
say.
Yeah, exactly. It's just, but, you know, so I feel love for that. And I do feel, and it's such a cliche, but I feel so much love in my family, and, you know, that I have a great, great husband who's been my biggest cheerleader and partner and business partner too.
Right. Cause he's in the business, right?
He is in the business, but he's my harshest critic and my biggest supporter too.
Does he laugh at you or with you? Does he laugh with you? Yeah. Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Does he ever say, Mara, shut it down? Like, I'm done. Like, no more laughing for today, for the hour.
All the time. All the time. I mean, it's really like, I mean, that's what I think it's like for someone who is going through a dark time. Like you say, it's just finding, it's always like if you can find just one friend, it doesn't just because you have a lot of friends.
Well, listen, you see that with Oprah and Gayle. I've never seen a human laugh harder than Oprah Winfrey when she's with Gayle. It's the cutest thing. Yeah. And you see that on their videos that they do on social and all of that, and on Oprah.com, but it's so real. And I have that with my best friend, Betsy. We laugh so hard. People around us don't even understand the language we speak because it's so ingrained in our friendship because I've known her since birth. But you're right. Yeah. It's great advice. If you have one friend that you can laugh with uncontrollably, that is the best way to get through a dark time, and even a light time. It doesn't matter if it's dark or light. It just matters that you're giving your soul that release of laughter. I love that.
Yeah, for sure.
I love that. Well, Mara, if I come to Atlanta, will you come see me, or can we have a little party or something? Because I need to get there. I have a ton of reasons to be there.
Honestly, I've been waiting for you to come to Atlanta forever.
I know.
We have so much.
I know.
We have so much Atlanta pride. Atlanta's such an awesome city, and I'm very proud to live here, and it's
beautiful city.
Got so much going for it, and the city's been really, really great to me.
How about Tyler Perry? Can we talk about him for a minute? I mean, wowzers!
It's pretty incredible just to see the film industry and the way it's really blossomed. Tyler Perry's story is just beyond. I mean, when you're leaving the airport and the exit says it's a full like road sign, Tyler Perry Studios. It's pretty earth shattering what he's done.
There is no chance that story could happen without God. Like, it is a holy story. Like, that is yes, he has talent. Yes, he is a great human, but like, there's so much magic. And I feel the same way about Oprah's story. When we went to see the Oprah exhibit at the Smithsonian, it was like, oh, I stood in front of that donor wall and saw her name at the top. And I just sobbed. I sobbed. There's so much magic. The story, you couldn't believe it if you were told the story, and the story is real. So yeah, seeing that sign, I'm sure is big.
Well, I didn't get invited to that big party that they had at the opening.
And
Oprah got invited.
And I got invited to the Smithsonian. So, those invitations will come one day, right?
You know what? In some ways, though, at my age now, I'm like, I wasn't invited. That means I could watch 3 seasons of another show. You know what I mean? Like, I can
of The Handmaid's Tale, exactly.
Yeah, exactly. So it's like, I think that's what comes along with like when you've been in and out of it. You're just like, but I can watch it on Instagram. It looks awesome.
Exactly. And then for me, I ended up going to see the Watching Oprah exhibit. And I took my mom, And my mom was the reason why I even ever realized that I wanted to be, in television. So and she gave me the invitation, she kept saying no to me to come to, the National Museum of African American History and Culture. And she kept saying no because it was over Thanksgiving weekend and she didn't want to travel on her own because we were coming from Cleveland, blah, blah, blah. And she finally said yes. And as we stood in front of the wall of the quote that was how I booked the audience, or how we booked the audience in the 1890s by phone. And I just went, thank you, and so that was a full circle moment. So I wasn't invited to the big hoop-de-doo, but my hoop-de-doo was so much better, So,
yeah. I mean, it's just incredible. I mean, it's just, you see things in your life, and it's why aging gracefully is really a blessing and not like a death sentence. It's like, it's just, you gain so much more perspective on that. So it's like, it's great that you're asking those questions about reflecting, because I think it does, put you in a place where, things that just affect you differently now. It's
totally
different.
We're older. We're old, or at least I am. Hey, everybody, follow Mara Davis at Mara Davis on Twitter, and it's Mara 2000 on Instagram.
Mara Davis 2000 on Instagram. When I joined Instagram, there was already a Mara Davis. So
how dare her? How dare her?
I know. It's all good.
Listen, your laugh makes me laugh. Your smile makes me smile. I wish you were sitting in front of me. I will get to Atlanta. And I thank you for your time. Like usual, this went way too fast. I love hearing all of your stories. They remind me of my own. When I look at you, I do see a younger version of myself. So keep doing it, keep going, and keep sending me all the cute red jackets that you find online. And when you're standing in line, because I will buy them.
Okay, good.
Because your love speaks. Thank you, Mara Davis. Have a great day, everybody.
All right.
You.
Love and light. Can't wait to see you soon. Take
love
care,
and light.
Lou.
Thanks, Mara.
Okay.
Bye. I have loved speaking with you today, and I want to speak with you more. So follow me on all of my social platforms at Live Love Speaks on Instagram, Twitter, and Facebook. And if you want more stories like the stories we speak here on the Love Speaks series podcast, go to lovespeaks.com and pick up a copy of my new book, Speak. Love your story, your audience is waiting. To step up your speaking game and your human game, check out my blog while you're there. Thanks for listening. Your Love Speaks.
Sally Lou Loveman is a mom, speaker, author, former audience producer for The Oprah Winfrey Show, and founder of Love Speaks. Each week, Sally Lou and her crew have a conversation about how love speaks in their lives and how it can speak in yours. From kindness to composting, no topic is off limits. If you need a community to kickstart your heart, you need the Love Speaks series.
Thanks, everybody. Enjoy your day.